So let me say, Andrew, I completely forgot about that there's a whole anime high school plotline in this show. Might be D tier.
D it is.
Well, I'm going to talk about eco-terrorism.
Got too excited about jorts.
I am leaving now with my Roomba or your blood on my hands.
I'm back on my bullshit.
What is meme if not air horn persevering?
No, this is not a family show.
And I quote, many American titties.
Why'd you have to bring Dane Cook to this, Andrew? No one wanted that.
Oh, you guys are not ready for what I've got today.
And I've apparently hit the very end of my attention span.
Give me like 30 seconds. I'm looking for rhymes.
Hello, and welcome to Debate This, the show where no one is right, but someone is definitely wrong. In this show, we take time out of our busy adult lives to talk about comic books, video games, and how cover letters are a lot like character backstories in D&D. You work really hard on them, one person reads them one time, they're more about who you want to be than who you are, and at the end of the day, they barely even matter.
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Great, man.
What you been up to?
Applying to jobs. That's what I've been up to, and I'm tired of it. Anyway, as you can tell from the title of today's episode, Flavor Text: Flavor Text, it's going to be a particularly meta week here at DT HQ. We planned this episode to round out 2021, but holiday travel shuffled our schedule around, and you're getting it to start 2022. But what is 2022 if not March 2020 persevering?
Okay, I made that exact. We did. I made that exact joke last week.
Did you really?
You guys called me a huge bummer.
Well, so, Matt's a huge bummer too. That doesn't mean Matt isn't a huge bummer.
I thought we were coming out of the years of bummers. I thought 2022 was going to be the non-bummery year.
You know how the McElroys do like no bummers? 2022 is all bummers.
Oops, all bummers.
All bummers.
2022 is an all bummers run.
I dumped out a lot of my bummer energy last year.
Was it really just last week that you made that joke?
I made the joke not that much per se. It was I used, instead of March 2020, I used the idea of Morbius.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
As in, Morbius will always be 3 months away, much like the end of the pandemic.
Yeah,
It's the same energy.
Morbius is much more of a bummer than the ever passage of time. IMHO. Anyway, today we're getting retrospective and looking back over our library of flavor texts to reflect, update, and hopefully figure out what it actually means when we say things like on a scale of Kingdom Hearts to Magic the Gathering. Joining me to look back upon the wastelands of our last 29 lore deep dives are Andrew Salty Henderson, Kyle Bitter Thomas, and Todd Umami Thomas.
They're all
Why don't you try Kyle's name again?
What did you call me? What did he call me? I wasn't paying attention.
Kyle Thomas.
Kyle Thomas.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Kyle, I've always wanted a brother, so I'm only taking you if Derek comes with you, though.
We're a package deal.
Todd, you're editing this, so I'm just going to give you a clean Harper, and you can do with that what you will.
I'll tell you what, Matt, why don't you give me one, and then it'll be a surprise if it gets changed or not.
It's not gonna. I bet it doesn't.
Sure it will. I already gave you one, so use it or lose it.
Also, these are my favorite of the 7 dwarfs.
Before we jump in here, can you guys just take a minute to acknowledge that number and discuss it for a minute? Did you realize that this was our 30th flavor text if you count the 2-part episodes as 2 separate episodes?
I realized nothing
No idea.
about milestones for this podcast. Like the episodes come in, I mix and edit them, and episodes go out, and that's it for me. So no, I realized nothing.
I stared at this list of flavor texts, and I was like, I cannot believe we've talked about these many things.
Same.
To just conceptualize the number, if you were to double the number of flavor texts we've done, that would be almost the same number of Bomberman games there have been.
Well, and let's call the average. I didn't do the average time of all flavor texts because Arcane, the flavor text that came out most recently before this episode came out, hasn't come out by the time we're recording yet. Anyway, I didn't do the average of the times, but let's call the average time of a flavor text 2 hours. So we have put out 60 hours of content
That's conservative
flavor
too.
text.
I think they're closer to 2.5 or 3 most of the
you
time.
gotta think some of them might have been 2 hours, but on a different one, we are still recording our Kingdom Hearts episode. We still haven't left that room.
We're still recording the Kingdom Hearts one.
We have done an entire JRPG's worth of flavor text at this point.
Holy shit.
And we only got through it with the power of friendship.
Killing
Yes.
gods
Also
with
true.
the power of friendship. Yeah, that is the common thread. Anyway, what we wanted to do today was talk about our flavor texts a little bit. And what I know we pitched a few episodes ago and what we've sort of been talking about on our Patreon Discord, which you listener, can join right now at patreon.com/debatethiscast. What we've been talking about there is putting the flavor text in order. And we're going to get to that near the end of the show. But before we jump in, I've got a couple of questions for you guys. And my first one is, I want to get the discussion going. What is your personal favorite flavor text that we've done and why? Andrew, we'll start with you.
I just saw that Todd named me Mr. Butt in the Zoom call.
He told you that happened 15 minutes ago.
Didn't see it. Now I do. It's funny.
Comedy.
Mr. Butt, what's your favorite flavor text we did and why?
Woo! What?
In my mind, it's the Mr. Sparkle image of Homer, but it's Andrew's face and it says Mr. Butt underneath it.
Yeah. What are my favorite flavor texts? So I think we're all going to do this where we kind of have to categorize our own that we research, because that's obviously a much different experience than just listening. So I'll say for the ones that I've researched, I think I said it both when we recorded both of these, but Studio Ghibli and the Ys episodes were by and large the most enjoyable for me to research and put together. I enjoyed every second of the 10 Studio Ghibli movies that I watched, which is also a short JRPG's worth of time.
Yeah.
And same with Ys. I played a whole JRPG. I played most of Ys 8 and the original Ys. Not for the flavor text, just because I was really into that game. And I had a really good time looking through and kind of like compiling like the information. I really enjoy like thinking about, okay, like what's worth talking about? Like, how do I want to present this? I like kind of, building that narrative. So I had a really good time kind of putting together the timeline of Ys. That one was for Daddy. Armory Wars truly broke me.
Man.
Especially because it's Amory Wars. It has never been Armory
Damery.
Wars.
Armory Wars.
It's always been
I
Amory
I was
said
excited
Damery.
when
Damn it.
When you had us convinced it was Armory Wars,
Yeah.
I was pumped.
It should be. It should just be Armory Wars. It
should be so
Amory
many
is
things
not
it
a
isn't.
word. Yeah, it should be everything it isn't. That one truly broke me, but I am most proud of the way that episode turned out because it was just like pure insanity. Now for the ones that I haven't done, I think for me, this is not gonna be the last time you hear this, listener. Magic the Gathering, just like purely from the lore stance, and also I thought Kyle did an excellent job, and you can tell listening to that episode that Kyle is incredibly passionate about Magic and generally knew what he was talking about. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but generally. So I think that sits highest for me. Close second, Ghost Rider, honestly. Ooh. Yeah. Ghost Rider was also a lot of fun, mostly for the same reasons. I think the Ghost Rider one, I always knew that Ghost Rider was insane, but like it makes Amory Wars look like Kingdom Hearts. I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
what's that mean?
It's like the thing that sticks out to me with the Ghost Rider one is all that nonsense about Cosmic Ghost Rider, who's like walking around with baby Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like most of the flavor texts, and like I'm not doing the number of them that I liked justice by like paring this down to a handful of favorites. The favorite of the ones I did was the Animorphs one. I really liked the Magic the Gathering one as well, but the Animorphs one kind of reminded me and reminded me how good those books were, and like confirmed that like I read some really good sci-fi as a child, and that was very very affirming to learn or be reminded of. So
it's always a cool feeling when you, as an adult, you like you get lore, you get information about something you enjoyed as a kid, and you're like, oh, that was actually cool and not weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's probably the favorite of the ones I researched. Kingdom Hearts is high on my list just because of the trauma bonding we all endured going through that. And the Neon Genesis Evangelion one is also a favorite of mine, and is the only one of two, I think, that made me explore the subject matter outside of the episode. Witcher being the other one. I think I went and bought Witcher 3 later that week. So, yeah. It was they've all been good. Like Andrew talking about the Studio Ghibli one is very good because I like how you rank them on the whimsy scale. Like that was the whimsy scale is very good, and I didn't remember that when I was like thinking of this earlier today, and now I do. The Ghost Rider one is great because comic books are insane, and Matt just like grabbed that insanity and embraced it wholeheartedly. So like
he grabbed that proverbial bull by the flaming horns.
Yeah,
I super did. Yes.
Yeah, I like a lot of the flavor texts, but those ones stand out to me.
And I think for the ones that I liked the most, they were the ones that had like a pang of nostalgia, or it was something that was like passionate to the person who was researching it. And so of the ones that I did, the two that stick out to me, the ones I think I enjoyed most researching and presenting, were Homestar Runner and Halo. Like Halo which is just funny to put them in the same category as like these are the two things that I really enjoyed researching and presenting.
Todd was like vibrating when he did the Homestar Runner one. Like he was so excited to be talking about Homestar Runner.
Yeah, he had a smile the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
The Homestar Runner episode to me was like catching up with an old friend you haven't hung out with in 15 years. That you like got to sit down with them and like you caught up and you're just like, I'm so happy that you're happy. Like your warmth is making me warm and this is great. A couple others that stuck out to me. I'm gonna also ring the bell for Ghost Rider. Like that was just an absolute blast. The one that Kyle and I think we tag teamed, the social justice in comics one. That one was
fun.
It was a lot of.
It's tenuous talking about those topics from our position of white privilege, but it was a good one to research, I think.
It was good for us. It was a good one for us to know more about.
Well, and it was fun to do as well because like we obviously sit and be like, oh yeah, things are better than they were, and like technically ish, but like also like they have room to get better, and until not long ago they were still pretty bad, and so. I think that was a good flavor text. But the other two that really surprised me that after I got done learning about them, I was more interested in like just absorbing the knowledge of them was the Bomberman one. There's a reason why I made the 60 games joke because I had to look it back up again. And the Animorphs one because again like nostalgia reasons. I was like, oh hell yeah, this is like dark young adult like fiction.
The books are so dark. And I was 10 or 11 when I started reading them. And
remember that character you like? They died. They didn't make it.
Or deal with PTSD or something. Like it's wild.
Yeah, and then I had a couple favorites as well. As far as ones I've done, FNAF is probably on the top of that list because it was good closure for me. I haven't really continued keeping up with FNAF lore since we've done that, and it was a good like I can get all of this out once, I can do it one time, and then I don't need to do this anymore. But also I got a special amount of joy from how terrible it was for you three to get through, and that was fun for me.
That one
have you revisited the lore since more games have come out?
Yeah, I was gonna say
you did that.
There's some FNAF sound is like trending on TikTok right now too, and
it's Security Breach I think is the whatever, I forget what the actual game is. I watched a playthrough but you team up with Freddy,
With
and his like
Fazbear.
his animatronic voice the whole time is like, Timmy, we have to continue going forward, or Vanessa will find us.
Yeah, I haven't like paid too much attention to it. I was pretty tuned in through FNAF VR, which came out like right after we released the episode, and then
Right.
FNAF AR I also like followed along with. But after that I fell off a little bit. That was kind of when things with Marvel started to pick up, and it just like something in the brain space had to give so I could fill it with MCU knowledge. And
Freddy Fazbear left room for all them hexes.
yeah, man, Freddy Fazbear done got Norded by Mephisto.
You stopped looking for purple men and started looking for red hexes.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that one a lot. I also really enjoyed the Ghost Rider one because like once every couple of years since 2007, I have gotten on the Ghost Rider Wikipedia and then just kind of like top to bottom it. And that was fun knowledge to share with my friends. But
anything that lets us talk about Goose Rider is a great day for me.
yeah, as far as other ones that I didn't necessarily fully host, the Guy Fieri one has a special place in my heart.
That was also such a fun one to do.
Yeah, I really liked Guy Fieri. I also really liked The Witcher. I had no interest in The Witcher before that flavor text, and it really flipped me 180. So those are a couple of my favorites. But I want to... Oh, go ahead.
I wanna shout out special honorable mentions to the Eternals and the is it Secret Invasion?
Secret Wars.
Wars. Just for like being a foundational entries in our canon. Like we kept referring to those in the Plus is Loose, the first batch of Plus is Loose episodes especially for a while. And
I think we've referenced Secret Wars more than anything else on the show.
Yeah.
Man, and how bamboozled will we be if they close up this major arc of like phases and they're like, we're not doing it. You wanted Secret Wars, you're getting Original Sin, a storyline that doesn't make sense.
It'd be a big old bamboozle. And speaking of bamboozles, I didn't have a better segue for that.
Segue. Keep going.
Yeah, let's do the flip side of what we just did. What is your least favorite flavor text and why?
I watched so much One Piece, you guys. Like, I watched a lot of One Piece.
you watched what? 4 arcs? 5 arcs?
I watched 130 episodes in the span of like a month, which
And it's so
is, and let me be clear, this is not like how Matt can just keep on Discovery Plus like when it's just on, or like how like the Food Network is just always on my mom's TV. Like I have to watch it because I'm taking notes, so like I can't do anything else. And for somebody with high functioning ADHD like that, it's really hard.
well, and it's so funny that you open up with that one because I put One Piece in like certainly the top half of the flavor text here because like I honestly like if you go back and listen to the One Piece flavor text, I was
so
hooked
fun.
as soon as you were like, if you want magic pirate powers, you have to eat the fruit that doesn't allow you to swim.
Same.
And I was like, that's such a good device.
The only thing that stopped me from starting One Piece when we finished that episode was like the insanity in your eyes and the knowledge that I'm starting 1,000 episodes behind. Like
let me I didn't get into this in the episode because I really wanted you guys. I came out of One Piece really liking it, and I really wanted you guys to feel the same way about these characters that I did. But the problem with something like One Piece, it's the same thing with Naruto, it's the same thing with even Dragon Ball Z to an extent, is these are character driven shows, and you can't enjoy the characters unless you start to identify them. You need to spend a lot of time with these characters, there's a lot of cruft. There's a lot of cruft in One Piece because it's just like, we're going to go on an adventure. And yeah, is it fun? Sure. But if you're trying to distill down what actually is relevant in a 3-hour segment, 3 hours, sorry again, there's just there's so much that you have to leave on the cutting room floor. And that was, I think that's the difference is researching it was just there was so much that you guys don't even know about, like you didn't even hear about, and some of it's really cool. Some of it is fine.
Well,
it's a lot of fine.
And how we watch shows has changed so dramatically since One Piece even started that
Right.
you would wait a week between episodes at the fastest. Like you would only be able to watch one new episode a week at the fastest. Then once you watched a season, you waited 2-3 years probably before the next batch of episodes started. So you were like hungry for more stories with these characters. Like they could have done anything and you would have loved it. And when you're binging that years later in a month, you're like, oh my God, I don't care that they're playing volleyball, but if I skip this episode, I know they're going to say 2 lines that are super important to the rest of the series at the very end. And you got to like sit through the volleyball special or whatever.
And if you're someone who has watched this show, again, this is a very good show. And if you want something that's just fun and light and you want like a fun anime romp, like I cannot recommend it enough. I can't recommend watching everything in one sitting. And just to put it in perspective, like Kyle said, these are shows that were intended to be watched over the course of many years. Dragon Ball Z, how many episodes do you guys think Dragon Ball Z has? Just
too many.
Ballpark it.
Too many.
Just Dragon Ball Z?
Dragon Ball Z, not Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball GT. Dragon Ball Z.
600?
I know. Yeah, I know that changes the number. I don't know how much that changes the number. It's a lot.
291.
Okay.
Which is
way more.
A little more than double what I watched for just One Piece, for our One Piece flavor text alone. So
Nice.
if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, if you're like me, you grew up watching that on Toonami, that's the entire original Vegeta Saiyan saga, which was like 2 years. That's the Frieza saga, which was like 3 years worth of content. That was my entire middle school. Plus, like, most of Majin Buu. That is the entirety of Dragon Ball Z that I watched when it aired on Toonami across, like, most of my teenage years in the span of a month. And that's why I think, like, why I had only crazy eyes. Fortunately, the show is that good, but yeah, it's a lot of content. Also, I do want to mention FNAF. I love Matt. I love your passion, but boy, do I hate FNAF. It's I wrote on here. It's kind of like Lost in that dipping your toe leaves you with a handful of questions that you're just interested enough to kind of dig into, and then the more you go, the more you hate it. And that's what I felt like about FNAF.
Yeah. My relationship with Lost and FNAF is similar, and that at the end of the day, I hate them both, but at one time or another, I was way too invested.
You loved them dearly.
Yeah.
Well, in FNAF, much like Lost, when they made the second season or game, they had no idea what they were going to do in the fourth one or the fifth one, and now they've been forced to just play in the space they've created and retcon when necessary.
Yeah. I'll also say I did not like the subject matter when it came to the Eternals, and I still don't.
It's on Disney Plus now. You can watch it at home.
I still won't.
I would say my least favorite one that I did was the Mandalore and Mandalorians one, and not because of the subject matter. I actually, once I found a thread to follow, I did enjoy the subject matter a lot, but researching Star Wars stuff that is not in the main 9 movies is a nightmare, and I did not have a good time figuring out where the threads all went to make that a cohesive narrative for the podcast. That said, I have enjoyed most of the flavor text. The other one that I blocked this out again when I was thinking of this earlier and was reminded, also the FNAF one. The FNAF one. And it's half because, like Andrew said, and FNAF is a fever dream that is like spun as it continues. They don't have a guiding light. They're just like, sure, and like run with a new idea and make it fit the canon. And on top of that, when we recorded that one, I was working like 3 jobs, 60 hours a week on average, and I think we recorded that at the end of one such week. and all I wanted to do was die and fall asleep. And instead I had to endure hearing about FNAF for 3 hours. And that was a special level of hell I got through for you, our listeners. So
I think it should be noted that that flavor text is also our most listened to episode of all time.
Of course it is.
I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but we actually recorded FNAF in 2 separate parts. We recorded so late that Kyle said, "How much is left?" because I can't do this anymore. And we came back and finished a second day.
I do. Now that you say that, I remember that. And yes, like that first day I was actually dying. Like it was the worst.
Well, if it means anything, Matt, I didn't hate the
FNAF
flavor text because I've watched Markiplier play, I think, every FNAF game, and I'm equal parts just fascinated in the gameplay and what's going on and how he can do a thing that I can't. And also, I love getting his live reactions to how absurd the lore is. That something new will happen and he'll be like, "It's the lore, everyone, it's the lore." And then you're like, "Ha, this man hates it too." So I have a quote in here I typed up. "Part of my soul was lost in hour 3 of Kingdom Hearts, and I will never get it back. One day, Andrew and Square Enix will have to stand before God and answer for their crimes." So I think that's just important to say that I think I hated the Kingdom Hearts one the most because it started out like, obviously it's absurd. The whole thing is absurd, much like Lost Plot.
And we should be clear, Kingdom Hearts also did not plan out 3 games worth of plot from the beginning. Like they also spun that out of nothing. But they follow JRPG tropes enough that like it was fine.
I'll tell you when you lost me because I specifically remember it was 2 things.
Yeah.
The second one I'll give you first, just like how off the rails Kingdom Hearts 3 went. Like I think that Kingdom Hearts 3 just
hadn't even gotten to 3. We haven't because
we did it in anticipation of 3.
Yeah, it was because I'll tell you what, I still have never finished 3. I stopped playing 3 when I got to Frozen World, and it was just like, "Hey, do you want to play the PlayStation 4 version of Frozen?" "No, I do not, thank you."
So maybe that was it. Maybe it was the feedback that I knew was coming or had heard, whatever it was. It was lost. The bigger piece that lost me was when it was like the back in time part of the story when they're like, "Oh, it's key," as in like Kai, because Kai is an X. Like,
yeah, that sucks.
That's the Keyblade, and I was off. I was done. I hated it.
Yeah,
I was not in.
When researching that was about the point around Dream Drop Distance when they revealed the fact that there are 13 shards of Xehanort, and the Xehanorts went back in time to like, it's bad. It's bad. It's objectively bad.
The other things that I didn't, much like Kyle, I enjoyed, or at least I found joy in each one of these flavor texts, but I'll give the same feedback that Kyle gave about the Mandalore episode for some of the League of Legends stuff that we've researched, which if you've listened to the Arcane League of Legends flavor text, you know that I have this critique that some of the lore from League of Legends that is not like, much like Kyle said, the main 9 movies, if it falls outside the immediate realm of like the major plot, it's really tough to find specific storylines summarized in an easily consumable way. And knowing that a flavor text is about trying to like dive in and find fun flavor behind the source material, we love doing that. But like once it gets incredibly absurd to try and piece that together beyond just like a layman's understanding, it is frustrating and not fun for anyone. And so, you know, and the point that I had put in here was that I think that when that happens for some of the stuff that is fun, once you figure it out, it ends up being a disservice to the content and to those that are trying to seek out that content. So those would be my critiques. But yeah, I have an amount of rage when I think about Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, as far as my least favorites go, for ones I've done, I have like residual disdain for the Overwatch flavor text because I love the Overwatch lore and I really enjoyed putting it together, and a lot more lore and stuff has been supposed to happen since that episode came out, and none of it has, and that makes me a little sad.
The only important Overwatch thing that has happened since that came out is a renaming of McCree, which was obviously like necessary and didn't really fix things. And also, I started playing Overwatch.
Yeah. Also, just like Blizzard in general makes me sad. So
Right.
Yeah.
I have residual sadness from Overwatch.
Well, hold on, Matt. What about, do you count the what was that mode they did like the last time I played when I stopped playing Overwatch 6 months ago? They did the little like co-op modes. Weren't those were pretty lore
Those
heavy?
come and go.
Weren't they?
Yeah, but those are the archive missions. They do those same ones every year.
Oh.
Those were new one time
Those
4
were
years
new.
ago.
Those were new, or those weren't new when we did the flavor text.
Yeah.
No. It's like the McRib. It's exciting when it's there, but it's not a new thing. So yeah, I feel that way about Overwatch. I also have to dog a little bit on Mandalore and Mandalorians, but honestly, I just don't care about Star Wars, and so I have a hard enough time caring about things that are in the main 9 movies. Outside of that is just like and it really is like Kyle did a great job putting it together. You did a great job telling the story and doing the research, but it just like it pinged off my face and I absorbed nothing.
There was a character called Savage Opress, and
Oh,
we all
yeah,
have to
I
recognize that.
Speaking of things that I absorbed none of, Code Geass. I remember absolutely zero about Code Geass. None.
Oh, that was the weird,
None
like,
whatsoever.
that was the weird, it's about imperialism. And
Was-
Yeah.
It's about imperialism is not a sentence that narrows this list down, Kyle.
Was that the one that you play through the game like 3 different times?
not a
It was an
game.
anime.
Code Geass is
so-
an anime.
Oh,
You're
whoops.
thinking about NieR.
Oh, okay. Then I need to switch those on my overall ranking.
And then
Because one of them was very high and one of them was very low.
Code
My-
Geass was the one. It was kind of like Evangelion, where they have big mechs, but it was the one where a man tricked a princess to murder an entire stadium of people
Yeah.
that were not purebloods.
Yep,
yeah.
Yikes.
that's the one.
Oh, was that the one that had the countries that had weird names? They were
Yeah.
just slightly
I
changed?
actually
Well, no, that
enjoyed
was Ys.
Oh, fuck me.
there's like 3 empires in
Yeah.
Code
Okay.
Geass.
Three
There's like
superpowers.
There's America plus, Europe plus, and Asia plus.
Britannia, the
Yeah.
Britannian Empire. That was it.
I actually liked the Code Geass one now that I'm remembering what it was. But we can move on. I don't need to say anymore. It was like a solid B.
The last flavor text that I want to dog on is Les Mis, and that's just because I have seen the show too many times. I've watched the movie too many times. I've listened to the album too many times. I never, ever need to consume Les Mis content ever again.
Do you guys think it's funny that even though, despite the fact that we do a video games and comics podcast, Les Miserables was the thing that we all knew the most?
That is pretty funny.
I mean, we're all like just out. We're either active in the theater or have been active in the theater.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
you know.
What, do you want to try and pitch a musical theater podcast hosted by 4 straight white guys doing network? That's never going to go anywhere. We had to pick our niche. All right, well, moving on from favorites and least favorites, I am really curious to hear the answers to this last question. What flavor text surprised you in the sense that you enjoyed the subject matter way more than you expected? And are there any topics we've discussed that you followed up on after we finished recording?
I'll start with ones that I did. Code Geass, actually. I ended up liking it more than I thought I would. And if anyone who was listening to that episode knows that I would have remembered that I started it saying I don't like Clamp, and this Clamp would be the original group of manga artists who made that, and I ended up really liking the show, so much so that I actually, after I recorded the episode, the night after we recorded that episode, I watched all of season 2, and also like season 2 better, believe it or not.
Wow.
I thought season 2 actually does a really good job of wrapping up the story that season 1 set up, in a way better way than I thought it did. Because when we recorded it, I didn't have enough time to watch the show. So I just watched a video and I was like, this is really stupid. And I actually end that episode saying like season 2 kind of sucks. Like there's a weird wrap up. I watched it for real and was like, oh, I was wrong. This is way better. So yeah, if you're interested in Code Geass, Kyle, check out them too. Also Ys, and I said that in the episode, so I won't belabor this too much. Ys was another one I knew nothing about, and then as soon as I started playing Ys 8, I was in love, and I played that entire 60-hour JRPG, and I loved every second of it. I also played Ys 1 and 2 since that time, and I have started Ys 6, but didn't get very far in it yet. Outside of things that I recorded, Secret Wars, absolutely. Didn't think I'd like Secret Wars. Really enjoyed it. I love Battle World. Battle World is so stupid and awesome, and it's just like both iterations of Battle World, especially the 2015 one. It's very much like Marvel was like, in case of emergency, break glass. Like, y'all, we gotta figure that shit.
Battle World is everything like wrong about comics done right, and it's like. Mm-hmm.
It's Smash Brothers. It's Smash Brothers for Marvel, and that's all it needs to be.
It's Marvel's clip show.
Yep.
It's a combination of clip show and what if both gone wrong or right.
Yeah, it was great. I loved every second of that. I also didn't hate the League of Legends ones as much as I thought I would, and remembered way more than I expected.
So ones I liked more than I expected. The Bomberman one, just the wild history of Bomberman
Unhinged
was
so happy.
Was great to learn. Apparently Code Geass. As soon as we started talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, that was like pretty cool. I liked that one a lot more than I anticipated. The Neon Genesis Evangelion is the one that like stands above because I've gone on to watch it now, and like that is the one I was like, yes, this is very cool. It's anime in form only, but like it is much more than I expect out of anime, and like kind of changed my opinion on anime because I am not the anime guy of the group for sure. NieR, you can hear me like being won over in that episode because I like Andrew's going through everything before the first twist, and I'm like, oh, and then he gets to the first twist. I'm like, wait a minute, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So,
Matt, did you ever happen to go back and listen to that one? Because I know that was the one you missed. Did you hate that? I figured you would hate that.
I did not love it. No. So I have listened to the NieR flavor text, and it honestly is in a similar brain space as the Code Geass one. Like, I can't say I was there, but I listened to it and I remember nothing.
Got it. Sorry, Kyle. I was just...
No, you're good.
Keep going.
And then, to wrap up, just like the things we've talked about that I've like gone into more afterwards were The Witcher. I went out and I think bought the next week. Neon Genesis Evangelion I finally watched more recently, and the Magic one got me back into Magic, which has been a thing since then. So
for me, I think some of the earlier ones we did were just like real bangers. Just to go to some of them that Kyle said, I really liked Magic the Gathering. Like, that was just a really, really fun story, and if you were to sell me on many of these flavor texts being these 2-part stories, I'd be like, oh, I don't want 2 parts of this. Magic the Gathering I was into. Like, I was good with that. Like, that was fun. It's gotten a little bit of hate, but I actually liked the Five Nights at Freddy's. As the sun has set on that flavor text, and we've come out the other side, I can look back at it and be like, these are insane ramblings of a madman that the internet has collectively put together and held up with loose red string, and was like, is this anything? And, the holder of the lore had to be like, oh, wait, that is not
that is not a thing.
That is not canon. That is canon. Like, I think that's something really special. Really like the Secret Wars one. That was a lot of fun to be like, you remember Secret Wars originally when it was about selling, action figures and Spider-Man got a black suit and no one really explains it because he gets it out of a room where Hulk gets new shorts. Anyway, it's literally like a room where they all get fabricated new uniforms, but his is symbiote. So that's cool. And how we got Venom. So Secret Wars is rad. And then same to what Kyle said, retweet for the Witcher one. That's really fun because I only know the Witcher 3 story and what we had gotten from Netflix at the time. One that I didn't really have follow-up on, but I hate to admit how much I think about it, is Amory Wars. Amory Wars, it holds a spot in my brain that I would like to use for, like, remembering loved ones' birthdays. But Amory Wars is there, and I cannot get it out. I just remember, I think that's the one where I, the most times, went, ugh, as Andrew kept talking about it. Because, like, I think it could have been fine. I think it could have been a good story, but there are so many times that it's just like...
It's very late 90s, early 2000s in a lot of aspects, and in a lot of bad ways.
And again, so like, thinking...
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, again, like, thinking about the core moments of that where it lost me, it was when the lead singer made himself the protagonist, like the hero of the story.
The Jesus allegory. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, this is too much.
So since we recorded that, this is actually as of this recording 2 days ago, there was a news article that came out saying Coheed and Cambria has confirmed their new album entitled Vaxis 2, A Window of the Waking Mind is coming out soon, later this year.
Good. Well, maybe we'll do a follow-up episode.
We won't.
Hey, whatever day that is, I'm sick. I'm sick that day.
We absolutely will not.
I'm sick and I'm turning off my phone.
Yeah, I've definitely touched back on a couple of these as well. Todd, I do want to make note that when we did the Overwatch podcast, you said to end the episode, I'll play Overwatch when Overwatch 2 comes out.
Well,
Overwatch 2 has not come out. Todd has played Overwatch.
Oh, and it's probably played it more than anything else in 2021. Overwatch 2 is coming out right after Morbius, so...
Same day release.
Yep. Yeah. I actually just finished the first season of Avatar: The Last Airbender today.
Nice.
I had never finished the series. I as I've been watching it back, have realized I watched all of season 1 and most of season 2.
Yeah, they were on Nickelodeon for years while we waited for season 3. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited to finish it. I'm going through on that one and definitely excited to finish it. I got a Marvel Unlimited subscription for Christmas, and so I have really dove in on a lot of Ghost Rider content, which has been a lot of fun, including there is a new... Well, it came out in November of 21, but a new Ghost Rider comic exclusive to Marvel Unlimited about Kashala, who we didn't talk about much, but I mentioned she was the 18th century Ghost Rider who was not only Ghost Rider, but was also Sorcerer Supreme simultaneously.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it has been a very fun read. And Doctor Doom is the main villain. And it's all about time and space and traveling through familial generations. It's been very good. I've really enjoyed it.
Sounds cool
Is
as
it
heck.
present day Doctor Doom in the in whenever time it takes place, or is it a different Doctor Doom?
It is present day Doctor Doom, who is in a dimension removed from time right now.
Okay.
This is post God King Doom. In Doom's new attempt to take over the world. And actually what happened, okay, not to get really into Ghost Rider, but just for a minute, Kashala's family, through their native belief system, their familial generations work in a circle, and every 7 generations, that circle completes itself and connects the power of the generations. And so right now, the mother of the 7th generation, or the 6th generation, has been possessed by Kashala, who is the 1st generation, to protect her daughter, who is the 7th generation. So it's very interesting. It's very timey-wimey, but it's been a lot of fun. So really enjoying that. And then, The Witcher I talked about earlier, I watched all of. I just bought Maddie the first 2 books yesterday. So I might end up reading those, which is crazy. I might end up buying Witcher 3, which is crazy.
Witcher 3 is so worth playing.
Yeah, but I'm really into The Witcher. And then, like Kyle said, I went into the Neon Genesis Evangelion flavor text thinking this is a dumb anime and I hate it. And now I really like Neon Genesis Evangelion, so that's cool, and has become an ever-present part of my life.
I think I can safely put on my tombstone as like one of my life's achievements is got Matt Cole to watch an anime.
Yeah,
one
you
anime.
did. And if you count Avatar: The Last Airbender as an anime, Kyle also got me to watch an anime.
Wow. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So Todd, let me know.
Exclusive
I
club.
don't really watch anime, so
All right. Well, do you guys have any other thoughts to share about favorite, least favorite, ones that surprised you before we take a quick break here?
I feel
Everybody
like
look at the list one more time.
I'm looking at the list.
Leave anything out.
We haven't mentioned we're very neutral, it seems, on the Sandman, and except for Matt, Les Mis, and I think that's it. I think those are the only two that didn't get an up or down either way.
Oh wait, I have one other thing. I went into the Halo podcast expecting it to be dumb, and I didn't think it was as dumb as I thought it was going to be.
It was about as dumb as I expected it to be.
Yeah, the parts of the Halo story are dumb in the sense that like it has names that are a naming convention that is dumb. And once you get into the overarching story of like religious space zealots want their way and everything is bad, and then try and forget about the whole like Prometheans having an arc with life hidden on it. Like once you get past you got to clear a couple hurdles, but then you're good.
World building is challenging.
World building is hard.
Right.
Well, what a great thought for us to step away on, so we will be right back after this. Hey, are you ready for Mephisto to be in this show? Because he's gonna be in the show.
From the nerds that debate this comes The Plus is Loose, a podcast where we break down every episode of the latest MCU shows being aired on Disney+.
Dottie was going to be the embodiment of Mephisto.
I feel very strongly that whether it was Mephisto...
I do not think this is Mephisto.
This is Mephisto.
I'm Mephisto, you Mephisto. I'm going to keep saying Mephisto. I'm Mephisto. Shards of Mephisto.
Mephisto.
It's Mephisto. How many times can we say Mephisto in this podcast?
Each week, we talk through plot details, Easter eggs, and our own predictions for how the shows will end.
Her husband, who she talks about but we've yet to see, is likely going to be Mephisto.
He, she, me, Mephisto.
The mailman is Mephisto.
Everyone is Mephisto.
Mephistology, the study of Mephisto.
Okay, so let's talk about this Mephisto bit.
Schindler's Mephisto.
Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you download podcasts.
What we didn't get were any Mephisto sightings.
I'll be at the bar drinking a beer and waiting for Mephisto to show up. All right, welcome back to this flavor text of flavor text. We've wrapped up our general discussion, and I have two tasks left for us today. One of those tasks is to put the flavor text in some sort of order, but first, it's time for flavor text trivia.
Holy shit.
Is everybody excited for flavor text trivia?
I'm so excited. Do I win a beer at the end? Like when I normally do trivia?
I've never actually done...
Is there a table of middle-aged men who are going to absolutely destroy everyone else in the competition, like when I normally do trivia?
Well, Kyle, I've never actually done bar trivia because every time I try and do it, Todd makes me leave. So I've never played bar trivia shots before.
And we leave. It's happened
that
twice.
That joke is only for us.
I've only been in the same location physically as Matt Cole, where A, I am there, B, Matt Cole is there, C, trivia is there twice. And 2 for 2, I'm like, we're not doing this. We're leaving.
It's true. All right, so the way this game is going to work, I've got 6 questions here that are all related to our flavor text. We'll go in the same order as far as giving answers goes. So Andrew, you'll be first. Okay. Kyle, you'll be second. And Todd, you'll be third. But everybody's going to give me their answer, and then we'll see who gets it right. This isn't a buzz-in sort of situation. It's more of a Final Jeopardy situation. So, question number uno. I'm guessing that we all remember what our first flavor text was, but can anybody tell me what the second flavor text was? Andrew.
Eternals.
And Kyle?
I think it was the MTG one, the Magic the Gathering one.
And Todd.
No, it's not Magic the Gathering. I thought it was Five Nights at Freddy's, but I don't think... I want to say Eternals, but Andrew's already said Eternals, so I'm going to say Five Nights at Freddy's.
All right, and 1 point goes to Andrew.
Yeah.
It was the Eternals. The Eternals was the second flavor text we put out. And Kyle, future Kyle, when you're editing this, if you want to like drop some non-licensed music in here.
Yeah,
yeah.
Do not ask me to put the Jeopardy theme in here. They have that. They are litigious about the Jeopardy theme.
Could you put it in but reverse it?
Ooh. I could do that.
So it sounds like a nightmare.
At Niage.
Yeah. Sounds like the Song of Time from Majora's Mask.
All right, well, speaking of firsts, can anyone tell me what our first commissioned flavor text was? And for a bonus point, what our last non-commissioned flavor text was? We'll go reverse order this time just to switch it up. So Todd,
And I'm not allowed to look at the list.
You're not allowed to look. Well, the list is in alphabetical order, not chronological order.
Can I refer to it to see my options?
Yes, you can
Okay.
refer to it to
Okay.
see your options.
Okay.
I believe the first commissioned one was Guy Fieri. And our last non-commissioned one, oh, baby. Was the last non-commissioned one Overwatch? Question mark? I'm going to say that.
All right, locking it in for Guy Fieri and Overwatch. Kyle, what are your picks?
I'm gonna also say Guy Fieri for our first commissioned one, and our last non-commissioned one. I'm going to guess Secret Wars, knowing
All right.
that's probably wrong.
So Guy Fieri and Secret Wars for Kyle. Andrew.
Guy Fieri, certainly. And this is a trick question because NieR was our last non-commissioned one because that came after we started doing commissions, but that was a last-minute episode that I put together. NieR.
Okay, all right. So you're all correct about Guy Fieri, and I'm not gonna lie, I had Overwatch as our last non-commissioned because I forgot about NieR. So Andrew, I will give you the courtesy point for being technically correct.
Because I'm the guy that uploaded that one.
Kyle, we're gonna chase Mr. Butts out of the studio and beat him
drive
up
him out of town.
All right, so
the secret is to edit the episode.
question number 3. Now that we've gotten commissions from tons of different people, it may be hard to remember who commissioned what. But for a point in this arbitrary trivia game, which flavor text was commissioned by DT superfan, my own mom, Brenda Cole? Kyle, we'll start with you.
The Sandman.
All right, Kyle says Sandman. Andrew?
Sandman.
And Todd.
Call it a 3. That's Sandman.
Everybody got it. 3 points across the board. Sandman, commissioned by my mom.
Let's play a fun game. If your mother's commissioned a flavor text, what would they commission a flavor text in?
That is a fun game.
My mom would legit probably like Arrow. My mom loved Arrow.
Oh, that's such a good one, though.
That is a good one.
My mom would probably do Animal Crossing or Donkey Kong.
Oh,
I think because we used to play Animal Crossing when I was a kid, and we used to play a lot of Diddy Kong Racing. So probably one of those two. Yeah.
My mom would probably do those zany nerds over at oh fuck, what's the show now that I can't even think about it?
Wait, hold on. Is it The Big Bang Theory?
The Big Bang Theory. Yeah. all I could think of was Bazinga. That's all I could think of.
Quick plug. Go check out Full Metal Bazinga.
Full Metal Bazinga.
Go check out Full Metal
Red Trigger,
Bazinga.
Red
Friends of the
Trigger.
show.
It's just insanity.
It's only insane.
All right, so we are moving into the back 9 of trivia. IMHO, these ones get a little bit harder. So, let's talk about something that matters. Length. What is our shortest flavor text? And I'll give you a bonus point if you can guess within 5 minutes of the total length. Andrew, we are back to you.
I'm going to guess shortest is Homestar Runner, and I'm going to say it's 52 minutes.
All right. And, no, Kyle, you're next.
I'm going to guess Les Miserables at 1 hour 10.
All right. And Todd.
I'm also gonna guess Homestar Runner. What was the time that Andrew guessed?
I said 52.
I'm gonna say 53.
All right. So
Eat my shorts.
Take that, Mr. Butt.
Andrew and Todd both correct. It was
Nice.
Homestar Runner. Now, I said that I would give you a bonus point if you can get within 5 minutes of the total length. Total length was 58 minutes, putting
Oh,
Andrew
you
absolute
absolute
minute
asshole.
away.
Eat my entire ass.
You wouldn't have gotten it anyway, Mr. Butt. Okay, that's the last time we can make that joke.
So, moving into question number 5, Andrew and Todd tied with 5 points each. Kyle, you're sitting at 2 points. So, question number 5, I'll ask the same question I just did, but the opposite, of course. What is our longest flavor text? And bonus points for being within 5 minutes of length. And I will say this one I have broken out in hours and minutes. It's not like 100 and however many minutes.
Are we counting the two-parters together or separately?
Great question. We are counting them separately.
Okay.
All right. So, Todd, you're starting on this one.
I think it's Kingdom Hearts. I think that has to be the longest one. If it's not, it sure as hell feels like the longest one. And in time, 3 hours and 10 minutes.
All right.
It's actually just an infinity symbol.
It just,
Kyle, you've got the next guess.
Can I ask a question for the judge?
I don't know that I'll answer it, but
that's
you can
fine.
ask.
Did we release FNAF in 2 parts, or did we
We did
only
not release FNAF in 2 parts. It was one part.
I'm gonna say FNAF at 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Okay?
Oh, that's a
And-
chunky mistress.
Andrew.
I am going to guess Evangelion. I'm going to say 3 hours and 2 minutes.
All right. Well, the only person to get it correct was Kyle. It was FNAF.
wow. All right.
Now, nobody got the bonus point. Todd, you were close at 3 hours and 10 minutes. FNAF was 3 hours and 17 minutes long.
Wow.
Oh, I
Matt,
almost said
how did
320.
How
Man.
did you keep our attention about Five Nights at Freddy's for 3 hours and 17
We did it
minutes?
over 2 days.
We did it over 2 days. I did not keep your attention. You can actually listen to
That's
the
fair.
episode and hear me losing your attention as we go.
I'm miserable on that recording.
Oh,
Again,
it's good. I mean, like it is objectively good how upset Kyle is to be involved in that podcast.
Man.
All right, guys, I've got one more question for you, and this question is worth 4 points. So, Kyle,
I can come back.
Viable for anyone.
you can come back. Here is my question. Kyle, you're going first. Andrew, you're going second. Todd, you're going third. What is the breakdown of who has hosted the most flavor text? Now, clarification, this is
don't look at your
counting
list.
2-part episodes as 2 separate episodes and giving a point to all hosts on multi-host episodes. And it's also not counting this episode.
So 29 total. Are we guessing how many each?
So what I'm going to
Who
do
has
is
hosted the most?
I am going to give you the numbers,
Oh, okay.
and I need you to assign those numbers to a host.
Okay.
Got it.
So the numbers are 10, 9, 8, and 4. Kyle, we will start with you.
I feel like Andrew is 10. I am 9. Todd is 8 and Matt is 4.
All right?
I'm same answer, but I'm flipping Todd and Kyle, so I think it's Andrew, Todd, Kyle, Matt.
And Todd.
Wait, what did Kyle say?
Andrew, me, you, Matt.
Oh. Yeah, I'm going to go with the way that Andrew did it. I think he has the most. I think I'm second behind him, and then Kyle, then Matt.
All right, official reveal. Andrew is correct with 10 hostings of flavor text, 10 hostess roles of flavor text. I am last with only 4. It'll be 5 counting this episode.
Which
And-
which four are those? Is it's
that I've hosted?
Yeah,
It's
Ghost Rider,
Ghost
Guy
Rider,
Fieri,
FNAF,
one.
Overwatch, and Guy Fieri.
Overwatch.
Yeah. In the middle, Kyle has 9 and Todd has 8.
Ooh.
Wow.
So Kyle, you got them all correct, which puts us in a 3-way tie with 7 points
No,
each.
you gotta
Great.
you gotta
We
ask a
love
bonus question, Matt. You gotta
7
ask a
points
bonus.
each.
You gotta ask
What's
a
that-
bonus question.
What's that
All right.
tiebreaker? You obviously prepared.
As requested, a tiebreaker question from a flavor text that I hosted. So this answer is a number, and whoever gets closest to the number is the winner. And we are not going to do the bust rule, so you can go over and still be closest. It's fine. Doesn't matter. So, all right, here we go. In the Ghost Rider flavor text, how many individual Ghost Riders
damn it.
did we talk about?
Did we talk about, or did you introduce? Was there 2 different numbers there?
The intro to the Ghost Rider podcast has me saying, we're going to talk about X number of Ghost Riders today.
Yeah.
That's the number I'm looking for.
Okay,
Got
not the quick and fast beats at the end.
Right. Well,
Got
that includes the quick
That
and
is
fast
the
beats.
Oh,
ones
no.
that we talked
Oh,
about
God.
on the episode.
Uh-huh.
Oh god. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
I've got a number in
I've
my
got a
head, and I
number.
don't think it's right, but I'm gonna go with
How about
it.
we put it in chat?
Yeah. Go ahead and everybody.
So
It's not gonna
stupid.
change my numbers. I'm gonna say 12. I'm not gonna. I'm a big kid. Just say it out loud.
All right, go ahead. So Todd says 12.
28. Oh god.
Mr. Butt says 28.
I was
Yeah,
also
it's
gonna
a-
say
it's a-
20. I was also
It's
gonna
a
say
much higher
28.
number.
It's much higher than 12.
12. I was stuck on the important beats we hit, not the rapid fast ones.
Okay, so Kyle and Andrew both said 28. Which one of you has higher dexterity? Let me just say this. Todd, you're wrong. Kyle,
Yeah.
Andrew, pick a new number. You are within 9 of the correct number.
We're within 9 of the correct number. Okay.
Yep.
I'll say 32.
19.
The winner is Andrew. The correct answer was 22.
Okay.
22
Okay.
Ghost Riders in the Ghost
Makes
Rider.
me feel better about 12.
All right. Well, that's all I've got for flavor text trivia. Now I think it's time to move into this ranking that we have been talking about for a few episodes. So, last but not least, I want to try and put these bad boys in some sort of order. But to do that, we have to determine how we defined best and also how we defined worst. And the way that I think I want to start this, we're actually going to make a tier list of this. So maybe this tier list will get posted somewhere. We might post the VOD of us doing this. But the questions that I want to answer, and then I think we can go from there, is what is the agreed upon best? What is the agreed upon worst? And then what is true neutral? What is right in the middle?
Hey friends, Todd here. So in the next 45 minutes or so, we thoroughly debate the ranking of each of our flavor text episodes. It is pretty interesting, and it's definitely a revealing look into how much we love and hate some of the lore behind these properties. We also say multiple times that we are recording and that we're going to share the live stream video of all of this discussion that we have. Well, we lost that video, and we cannot get it back. I mean, to really prove a point, Andrew paid a sketchy German website like $9 and he still couldn't get it back. To prove it, I even left in the audio of Andrew saving the video live. You can hear him typing and everything. Just so you know, there was an earnest attempt to make this happen. So sorry to disappoint you this early into 2022, but that's on us. That's our bad. What we will do is we will blast out a picture of our final ranking through all of our social media. But that video clip is lost. So if you do want to hear a discussion, neat. I mean, stick around for a bit. It's 45 minutes of pretty fun content. We argue a lot. It's a good time. But if you'd rather just hear the final product, then go ahead and skip ahead 45 minutes from the end of this little side clip here. So, all right. Anyway, I'm going to put you back to the show. Thank you. You're great. Kingdom Hearts lore is trash, but you are great. So keep being great. We love you. Also, since I am going to pass this back, just make sure you stick around. At some point, Matt does make a car-based Coheed and Cambria pun after we announce our ranking. It's very fun. Okay, bye.
The floor is open.
So I think Sandman is our true neutral, because that's the only one we didn't. No one had a good or a bad thing to say about Sandman.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I would agree
Sandman
with that.
is pretty close to the middle of my list.
I'm gonna go ahead and put Sandman B tier.
Great.
Can I offer a high watermark and a low watermark for consideration?
Yeah.
My scale goes from Homestar Runner to Kingdom Hearts. That is my. That is
See,
my
Kingdom Hearts is not my top, but it's high for me.
I would also take Homestar Runner to Amory Wars. That is also my spectrum.
Let me pitch this to you. How about, I think Evangelion is the top one, because Evangelion has got 2 people to fully watch the anime after we recorded it. 2 of the 3 of us went and watched the thing.
It's in my top 25%, so I would take that.
I think I can agree to Evangelion being the highest. It's not my highest, but I can agree to that.
I have one argument before we lock that in. By that logic, you can say the same for Witcher. And I think I would put Witcher above Evangelion.
Cool. I enjoyed doing that a little more than I enjoyed doing Evangelion, so I'm okay with that.
I'm also okay with that.
I'd be fine with that, yeah.
Witcher is number 1 in our S tier.
All right, so
Henry Cavill is number 1 in our S tier.
As far as worst goes, I agree with Todd. I feel pretty good about putting Kingdom Hearts on the bottom of this list. I was not sober by the end of that episode. I could not have been sober by the end of that episode.
I will take Kingdom Hearts as the bippity bottom of our list, because I really enjoyed the manic energy we all had during it, and that's what I'm and if that means it's the worst of the worst, I am fine with that.
I gotta fight for it, not because I enjoyed Kingdom Hearts, because that lore is poo-poo bananas, but that one I think is really fun as an experience, and it did kind of set the tone and the cadence, and this is where it's a hard argument.
Coming from. That's where I'm coming from.
This is the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time argument, because it is an important entry in the lore, in the canon. But is it objectively the best? I don't know. But I think it deserves at least a B or an A tier. I do not think it deserves
a B or an A tier at all.
Well, let me ask you this, right? So we're doing this on tiermaker.com, which of course runs SABCD, but we don't necessarily have to think of this as best to worst. We can think of this as like most bought in to least bought in.
Okay.
Or like, how are you defining? Because when I think of putting something on either end of the scale, and we have Witcher at the top of our scale, I think of that as like, I listened to all the lore, it made a lot of sense, I really enjoyed it, I got really into the property. And so to me, the exact opposite of that is Kingdom Hearts, in the sense of, I hated the lore, it didn't make a jack lick of sense, I did not invest in the property.
Well, and I think that's important to say, that like the flavor text, the content we create, is not bad. It's not, the flavor texts themselves are not bad. It's that you've laid your cards out on the table. Was your hand good? Like, was what came together good?
Yeah.
I can buy that. So we'll put Kingdom Hearts as the bottom of our D tier. Dookie bad boy D tier.
So with that in mind, now that we've set top and bottom, do we, and I don't have an opinion on this, I'm just asking, do we need to change true neutral? Like, if we're gonna go on the scale of Kingdom Hearts to Witcher, is there a better true neutral than Sandman?
I think Sandman's a good one.
I think Sandman's good.
Cool.
I nothing Sandman. That was like when I came out of that flavor text, I was like, yeah, I mean, I like the Smiths. So
yeah.
All right, well then should we just go by one and try and put these bad boys in here?
Yeah,
let's do it, baby.
So what's that first logo down there?
So first we have Coheed and Cambria, aka Amory Wars.
That's
D.
Yeah, that's gonna end up solidly in the D tier for me.
See, I kind of liked it. I kind of enjoyed it.
It was stupid enough to be look. Here's the thing.
I would take a C for that because I enjoyed how bad it was.
Yeah, I would do a C tier.
I went and bought the third book. I haven't read it yet, but I did buy the third book.
I disagree, but as long as my disagreement is documented in this podcast, then I will accept what the majority rules.
I'm writing a note. Todd hates this one. Got it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we got that in the recording. Okay, C tier it is. Amory Wars C tier.
All right.
Animorphs, S or A?
I would love to see it in S, but I will accept an A as well.
I'd say A.
I feel A tier about Animorphs.
I really think the S tier has to be like some special things.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have a number that land in like A, B, and C, and then just a few are gonna end up in D. And
it's the pantheon of flavor text gods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. All right. So Arcane, I feel very nothing about Arcane.
Arcane is like a C plus to me. Like it was well researched. The story of Arcane is good, but I spent the whole time just like calling the shots before we got to the shots. So that's a C plus to me.
Yeah, I would say like I know like you guys haven't watched the show.
Mm-hmm.
I would say C feels right. I enjoyed the show. I don't think it was anything special, but I thought it was very enjoyable.
C it is.
Great.
Avatar.
I'd say a B probably.
I feel good about that. I think Avatar is a fantastic property.
Yeah.
I think when you lay it all out on the table, you're like, oh, cool. Like the chosen one kid. I get it.
Yeah. It's more having that. It's hard because it's hard with the ones that you've actually seen.
Yeah.
You know, because like I would say as a property, it's up there. When you list it all out in bullets, though, it's fine.
It's an S tier property. Like when you with all the pieces put together, I would say it's an S tier show.
Yeah.
The flavor text version of it is a what do we say? B. It's a B.
I think I texted. I don't know if I texted it to all of you, but I know I texted it to Kyle. The cartoon moment where Toph like breaks down the metal door and then turns into a metal monster because they wrap themselves in like liquid metal and just beat the asses of all the bad guys.
Yeah. The caption to that is like 2 minutes ago this guy didn't even know metal bending existed and now he's getting his ass beat by a metal like a child wrapped in metal. It's amazing.
And so just to kind of circle back on some of the earlier ones, just to be clear, dear listeners, we're not necessarily saying that like
these are not judgments.
Is a terrible. Yeah, these are not judgments on the
properties.
On the property themselves. It's our portrayal of the properties or our interpretation of the properties as distilled in 2 to 3 hour
podcasts.
Regurgitation, auditory regurgitations.
With the exception of Kingdom Hearts, I am here to judge that property.
All right, fine. Now, here's an example of one. Next is Bomberman. Here's an example where I would suggest that Bomberman is at least A tier because of the insanity on paper.
I would put Bomberman in the S tier.
I would also put Bomberman in S tier.
I think Bomberman gets that S tier honor because if you would have asked any of us, any single one of us, even the our friend in the Patreon who, because I think it was Tommy's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I bet Tommy didn't have any idea what he was getting into.
No idea.
And this is
it's
one of those properties.
For me, it's on the fact that there are 60 of these games. That's
80.
80.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Even better. That's enough for me to that's an S tier flavor text.
It gets top honors because what you expected and what we came out with, two very different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
I don't know which anime boy this is. Andrew. You're gonna have to tell me.
I got it. It's Code Geass.
I would say it's a C. Although I was won over on the property by that.
Okay.
Episode.
Well, that means it's at least not D. But I would argue the sheer fact that Matt and Todd completely forgot about it, probably puts it lower.
I'm gonna just level with you. I know we're gonna talk about Code Geass, we're gonna talk about Ys, and we're gonna talk about NieR at some point. And I'm gonna need help remembering which one
Which
is
was
which.
which?
Okay,
Because I liked two of
yeah.
them and I didn't like one of them.
Well, it's
And
like 3 flavors of white bread. It's all the same thing.
I-
Code Geass had.
You did not like Code Geass, Todd. So
Yeah,
Code Geass is the one with the 3 superpowers.
Yeah, okay.
That one was trying to take over. You had the bad boy and the good boy, and they both drove big mechs. This is not helping. And
Code
do you
Geass
remember?
had
Code
King
Geass,
Edgelord in it.
yeah, well, that Code Geass had the thing with the cat. Remember how I talked about the cat? There was like a whole 3-episode arc with a cat and them in high school.
I want
They're
this
also
to
in
be
high
at
school.
least
All right.
at highest a C.
Yeah, I think C is fair.
Okay, listen, we just kind of had a little fight about the fact that none of us either remember or can clearly explain Code Geass.
But Kyle liked it and actually was like, I want to go interact with this. That to me, I think brings it up to a C from a D.
I'm feeling a little D tier about this. Definitely above Kingdom Hearts.
So let me say, Andrew, I completely forgot about that there's a whole anime high school plotline in this show. Might be D tier.
D it is.
Until
I
you
also
said
forgot that. So,
until you
yeah.
said it just now, I was like, oh yeah, there was an anime high school plotline. Probably not C tier. Yeah.
Can I open up before we say anything about this next one? I would like to open the
This
floor
is
for
Eternals,
the next one. The next one is Eternals. Let our flavor text not pay for the sins of the movie. Let the flavor text pay for the sins of the source material.
May I go? I hate this. I hate the source material and I hate the movie. That's a D tier for me, baby.
I think it's a C because I was into this when we
Did you remember it? Is it memorable?
I think C tier. I remember it more than I remember Code Geass.
Yeah, I remember parts of it. But I also have not watched the movie yet, and I feel like I'd remember more once I watched the movie.
I'm glad that you're voting on this before you've done that bit of homework, because that helps the argument today.
I'll allow the C, but I'll make a note that I disagree.
Much like we made the note that Todd disagrees with one.
On our tier list here, Andrew, you got to drag Code Geass to the left of Kingdom Hearts.
Right.
There we go. Yeah,
to show that it's, or because we have to rank by tier. Got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just putting in orders of stuff.
Kingdom Hearts is the furthest away from the sun. It is.
That's fair.
It is in the elephant graveyard.
It knows what it did. All right. So on the other side of the spectrum of sad anime boys, we've got Evangelion. Now, for the same reason, I think Evangelion is S tier because, again, 2 of you have watched this entire show.
Yeah.
I wouldn't stop you from putting it in S tier.
At risk of overloading the S tier, I think it's an S tier.
Yeah, I think it's top A tier.
Yeah.
Or S tier is my thought.
Yeah. I'll put it after Bomberman, but in
it's
S.
got to be at the end of the S tier. Okay. I think I thought it was interesting enough that I remember beats of the story. I just knew it wasn't for me. And I think that that's like important to point out, that just because I don't love something doesn't mean that. I just saw the screen says you are viewing Mr. Butt's screen.
And now it says in our little thing, Mr. Butts in parentheses sucks.
It's really the gift that keeps on giving.
It's pretty good. So real quick, so for Evangelion, I do want to note that was the only one that I've done of these animes where I was able to actually talk about every single episode.
Yeah,
which I think is
at the time was only 22 episodes long.
It's only 24, 24.
Sure.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever.
The difference being between that and even Code Geass, which was just as many episodes, every episode matters. And that's one thing that I really enjoy about this anime, and why it feels different is because there is no chunk. There's no filler. Everything matters. Anyway, next one is Studio Ghibli. This one for me, I think, is an A.
I put Studio Ghibli solidly an A. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I was gonna say B, but I'm outvoted, and I'm fine with it. I don't have
for nothing else, Grave of the Fireflies.
I
and
think
the whimsy scale. I think the
and
whimsy
whimsy
scale.
scale.
The whimsy scale puts it in the A.
That was a good example of, like, I had only seen like 20% of those movies that you shared, but you talking about them on a scale of whimsy was a very enjoyable way for me to consume that.
Got it. On a similar note, I should note, so Ghost Rider is next. I should note that Ghost Rider came up in all of our what did you like the most. So I would argue that it's at least an A, if not an S.
Well, so here would be my platform to stand on that it could be considered an S, is that I think this was our, and it might be our only absurd dive into a singular comic book property. I'm scanning this as I'm saying this. I mean, obviously we have the Eternals, which is like a concept. We have, Secret War, which is an
arc.
an arc. This was our first dive into one hero or one character. And for me, it was incredibly enjoyable to hear about all the different iterations of this character, that some of them still stick in my mind. And I really enjoy them. Like, I was on the edge of my seat looking up these like pictures as Matt was discussing it. And so I would like to say at least A, maybe even S. It doesn't beat Henry Cavill.
Doesn't beat Henry Cavill.
I want to say it's an A. It's an A for me because I personally, it did not move my needle on Ghost Rider at all. Like, I like Ghost Rider just as much as I did before and after the episode came out. It was very good, very well researched. Matt had a lot of passion for it, but I remained as interested before and after as I was.
If we were rating this on passion alone, on Matt's passion alone, I would give it an S.
Sure.
The source material gets an A from me.
Yeah.
I would say I agree with all of those things. I think that I would put Ghost Rider at the top of A tier, so perhaps above the Animorphs.
So be it.
Next, we got Guy Fieri was a lot of fun.
We got Guy Fieri. This to me is a B. It was a really fun B.
It's a really fun B.
Yeah.
We showed up.
Maybe the top of, maybe above Sandman in the Bs. Yeah.
We learned something.
I would just looking at our B tier right now, I would go Guy Fieri, Sandman, Avatar is my B tier.
Sure.
There we go.
Cool. Halo.
I feel like Halo lands in the B tier.
Yeah.
Not above a Guy Fieri.
Maybe
it's a C for me.
I think it's the top. I think it's
Okay.
the top of C for me as well.
Then we need to move Amory Wars down. Halo does not deserve to be next to Amory Wars.
It could be above Amory Wars, but like, I
something
think
better
like
be
Halo.
between it and Amory Wars. By the end of this.
I'll give you B because I liked Halo more than I liked Eternals.
Yeah,
I don't want to. I don't know if Halo goes next to. It goes with Avatar, Sandman, and Guy Fieri, though.
Let me offer you this
gap.
compromise. What if we slid Amory Wars to the right of Arcane and then put Halo at the top of C?
I feel better about that.
I like that. Yeah.
Putting it, having, I wouldn't say that Halo would have to be above Avatar, but there's a gap between Halo and Amory Wars, and if we aren't going to address it, I'm gonna riot.
One thing though, Monstar. Remember Monstar?
I remember the Monstars, the bad guys from Space Jam, and nothing else.
All right, Homestar. Where's our boy Homestar go?
Probably an A, I think. Maybe a high B.
I was feeling high B-ish about Homestar.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun. It is also our shortest flavor text, and there's just there's only so much there, you know?
There wasn't a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
I'm good with high B. It was personally one of my favorite, but it's not lore rich.
You want to put in between Guy and Mr. Sandman and the Smiths?
Yeah.
I'm into that.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So next we have not Arcane, but the original League of Legends one. Now this one, I gotta go D. I did not like whatever the fuck. What is the land called?
Runeterra. Can I make my pitch as to why it? So Arcane, I think, solidly stands in that C tier. I'll tell you why League of Legends should probably be in D tier. It's because the storylines of the 80 different champions, 100 different champions are all very good.
Yeah.
There is, or at least most of them or some of them are very good. That's fine. There's no time on Earth to do all of that. The generic story of Runeterra and the evil forces.
Yeah.
It's not fantastic.
No.
And I think that they also didn't probably plan for that story until they had caught some speed to what they were doing. And so in this scale of how is that lore? How is the story? How gripping is it? That story is not gripping.
I'll go so far to say it belongs in D tier because until probably only the last 5 years, it's been treated like lore. until then, the lore has been
Sure.
this is a battle world.
Yeah.
They're all here
Yeah.
to They're all here to Mortal Kombat. You're here to play the game. Lore is low on the list of priorities. When
It did the thing that Tarantino people try to do with Tarantino movies, where like, oh, all their Tarantino movies
Yes.
are connected. I don't want them to be like, if this were just an anthology of cool fantasy tropes,
Yes.
it would be so much better in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah. I would put League of Legends above Code Geass in D tier.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Cool.
There are no cats or anime high schools in League of Legends. Les Miserables.
Les Mis doesn't do anything for me.
It's
Yeah.
like it probably belongs in B tier with like right next to Sandman, same level as Sandman, where it's like
It's really
I don't know
good
about
bread.
that, Kyle. I got
Yeah.
more out of the Eternals than I got out of Les Mis. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Ooh.
I would agree. Of course, I also think that it's a crime that Amory Wars is above anything in C tier.
It's
But
certainly
Todd, the Monstar virus, all of the planets were
up.
exploded, and that created Earth and the 9 planets that we have today.
I would not object. I would not object to Les Mis being as low as C tier, but I think it occupies the same space in my mind among these as Sandman does, where it's just very fine.
Let me make a pitch though, again, to ease everyone's mind. I think we all like Les Miserables the musical,
Yeah.
right? Like we can all agree, Les Miserables the musical is not good because of the story. Like it's the characters, it's the setting, it's the music, it's the entire package. The story it was essentially the book, which is a story about the French Revolution, which is interesting.
I remember caring way more about Sandman and the story and the characters than the beats of Les Mis.
All right,
Yeah,
C tier.
C tier it is. Does he
It
now?
goes in front of Amory Wars.
I would put it after the
sure.
Eternals.
Okay, what if we put the Eternals before Amory Wars?
Okay, deal.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not. I disagree. I will.
I think it goes
nope.
between Arcane and Amory Wars.
All right, fine.
That's fine.
Agreed.
I'm just mad that Amory Wars exists in a vacuum with these other properties.
I like that Amory Wars is like holding the line in C tier.
Okay, so this next one, I couldn't get a picture of this. This is Rob Liefeld's take on Captain America to represent the social justice in comics.
Oh,
He's
good.
so bulgy.
He's got real man boobs.
That's either C above Halo for me or B below Avatar for me. That's like again squarely in the middle. Like
I like B below Avatar. I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah. I'm in.
yeah, agreed.
Cool concept. Not a
yeah.
ton there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Next one is Mandalore and the Mandalorians. Now, I think this is similar to how Ghost Rider appeared in all of our favorites. This did appear in most of our unlikes or dislikes.
Well,
I think
and
it's
if you
below
remember-
Amory Wars.
Oh, God, so many things shouldn't be below Amory Wars.
I'm fine. I'm fine with it. Like with it holding out the bottom of C tier. Like it.
Yeah.
As far as Star Wars lore goes, like Star Wars lore is pretty C tier to begin with. Let's all be honest with
the
ourselves.
extended Star Wars universe.
Star Wars fans,
Yeah.
like
Well, and if you remember, like, the biggest critiques we had were, like, maybe there's a cool story here, but, like, oh my God, to get to it is just near impossible.
Well, I mean, you could say the same thing for League of Legends, which isn't D tier.
Well, yeah. But I think the effort that went into build the concept of Runeterra was like, planet, but it's not Earth.
We'll put Mandalore nestled right after Eternals, and
Is that
nestled right
before
after
Amory Wars?
after Amory Wars. Okay, so this one is hard. So this next one is supposed to be Magic Part 1. It's the Phyrexia.
it's
the
a Phyrexian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
which
we put them together? Can we just do...
I think this one I could. Well, okay, so
I want to.
I think we should look at them differently because those were two very different episodes based on the lore. And Kyle, can you remind us the major beats of 1 and 2, please?
So, as best I remember, one is pre-mending story, which is when like planeswalkers got a little depowered, and the story in general got a little less like 90s back of a comic book shop vibes to it. So it was a little more metal, it was a little more gritty, and I think was the better of the two. And then the second one was post mending, and that's more where they get in, where like they do the Magic the Gathering version of the Avengers, which is good and fine, but I would put, if we're putting them together, I would put 1 at the end of A tier and 2 at the beginning of B tier. And if we're separating them, they can go anywhere in those tiers for me.
Yeah.
But I think 1 is definitely the better story of the two.
1 definitely, I think 1 is what hooked us, and I agree. And like 1 was what I remember is like the Phyrexians and like that really cool image with the man with the like the Doom Gate or whatever the hell that was. 1 to me, I think, is an A. The Avengers stuff was still cool, and like that's the Magic that I know, but it was not nearly as cool and rad and metal as part 1 was.
I would definitely put part 1 in A tier. I think I would put part 2 like mid B tier.
Sure.
Because I think I would definitely put Guy Fieri and Homestar over part 2 of Magic.
Yeah, that's what
I think it's in a similar.
And
vein
honestly,
as Sandman.
I'd put Sandman above part 2 of Magic too. So let's.
So
Todd, what do you think?
I'm good with either of those.
All right, so part 2 goes right after Sandman, before Avatar, and then part 1.
I
I
think I'd put part 1 above Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
Is that absurd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
good with that, too.
I think that one really, like, we all came out of that one like, holy shit. I mean, I went immediately to go play Magic Arena, did terribly and stopped playing after a week, but I did do it, and it was because of that flavor.
After they bullied Andrew off the platform.
I got so bullied off the platform, you guys. Cool. Okay.
Is
This is NieR.
this one Oh.
Now, I know what I feel about NieR. I love this story, and I had so much fun doing this. However, I will admit that doing it, like, I had to put in the music. I had to cut in a lot of the music just to give like a sense of this is one of those, like, you really have to play the game and experience it. It is for a very particular type of person. So I do not think this is this might be low B if the rest of you guys enjoyed it, but I'm okay with putting it lower.
I liked it because the way that twist hit, the way the
twist is important.
The way that twist hit, I think, elevates it from the lower ends, but it's either a high C or a low B to me.
Okay.
I think I had this one in like my top 25% of flavor text because I remember actually liking it when the dust had settled, and I don't tend to enjoy JRPGs.
Yeah.
So I would argue for maybe towards the end or somewhere in the middle of B.
Can I interest you in above Sandman?
I'm okay with that.
I don't have a huge horse in this race because I wasn't on that episode.
Yeah, it does not pass Homestar Runner. To me, Homestar Runner would be leading the B tier charge just because I like it so much. But, you know, if you have to have Amory Wars, I have to have Homestar Runner as my immovable object.
I guess what I was going to say NieR is that putting NieR above Avatar feels a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
But
we could open up the discussion on Avatar again. I feel like that one needs
I feel
to be
like
a little bit
where Avatar has moved to is not representative of the lore. I don't know what it. But
what if?
Do we just flip Avatar and NieR?
Well, okay, so let's just to revisit Avatar a little bit. Again, we don't that property is very good. It suffers from, I think it suffers from a little bit of the Magic and suffers from the League of Legends and the Halo thing, which is like when you put it all out there in bullets, it can be a little bit
underwhelming. It's a little underwhelming
is a good term
when you list it all out.
I do feel like it's above baseline, though. If Sandman is our true neutral, I do feel like it's above. It's got a 50% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
IMO. So I would put it above Sandman, around where NieR is.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
I wanna swap now NieR and Avatar. I think Avatar goes above NieR still.
That's fine with me.
Okay, perfect. So B is we've got, so just to kind of, for, because there's a visual component here. So we've got in our S tier, we've got The Witcher, we've got Bomberman and Evangelion. A tier, we've got Ghost Rider, Animorphs, Magic Part 1, and Studio Ghibli. B tier, we've got Guy Fieri, Homestar Runner, Avatar, NieR, Sandman, Magic Part 2, and then Social Justice and Comics. C tier is Halo, Arcane, Les Mis, Amory Wars, Eternals, and Mandalore. And then D tier is only League of Legends, Code Geass, and then by a huge breath, a huge.
Can we
gorge,
add an F tier?
Kingdom
Does
Hearts.
this tier maker not have an F tier?
I didn't add one, but I think
We could
can't
drop
hear.
Kingdom Hearts down to F tier if we're.
We can just delete it off the screen.
No, never. It's my baby. No.
Okay, so let me make a pitch to you for D tier. And this is, I feel kind of bad because it was a fun episode to record, and you know, we had a lot of laughs. I said come fruit, and that's on the internet forever. But I think I would put One Piece in D tier, and let me tell you why. We did two 2-hour podcasts and covered like less than a tenth of the property, and that hurts. Also, like, it drove Andrew, the person who did it, slightly insane, and none of us have ever gone back and touched it, because even us condensing it down into 4 hours of podcast is barely enough to give you the base to start the show. And I don't, like, I understand that One Piece is objectively a good anime, but in this realm of flavor text that we're doing, I think it's in D tier.
Let me quickly, for the listeners, so much like the Magic, let me break down part 1 and part 2, because I'm kind of at the point where I don't disagree with you, Matt. I'm very proud of that episode, and that, like, to me personally set the tone and like set the format on how I do my flavor text. So, like, again, it's an Ocarina of Time situation. It's a very important entry in this pantheon. So part 1, I would also argue part 1 should be higher than part 2.
Oh, see, I was gonna say part 2 was what won me, was what
really.
Part 2 pushed me closer to watching the series than part 1 did.
Well, let me remind people what they were. So part 1 was kind of like building the team. So we were getting all of the main characters, and we had all of their backstory. So we got we got the introduction to the gum fruit, but we didn't get a lot of it. It was like what Todd really liked, which was but you can't swim in a world that's filled with water. That's kind of interesting. We met Nami and Usopp and the other two, and we got their backstories. The highlight of, I think, of the first arc is the story of the
Sharkman fight.
The Sharkman fight. It's two things. It's the story of the restaurant ship where they meet the chef. I forget his name now. Yikes. And also the kind of the culmination of arc 1 is when they go back and we get Nami's backstory, and they fight the Shark Man, and there's that whole thing with like her adopted mother thing.
I went and like watched the clips of the Sharkman fight when it was all said and done with, and I actually kind of liked that.
It's considered to be a highlight of the entire series, and was for me.
It was his Trinity killer.
Yeah, it was. Yes, honestly, yes. Like it's Dexter season 4. So arc 2. I think this is a little more contentious. I think more people like arc 2. I didn't. This was where I was like really hurting. So there was a lot of fluff in arc 2. This was the Alabasta saga.
Yeah, that might be why I remember because you skipped over it. This is when I got really crazy. The first half of the Alabasta saga is just like introducing a bunch of gum fruits. And it was like I have the stomp fruit and the gun fruit, which is the power of gun. It definitely like does tie itself together when all of these threads come together, but like, boy howdy does it take a while. So I would be okay with putting part 2 in D tier.
I would say, with all of the things said, part 1 should be at the end of C tier, and part 2 should be at the top of D tier.
But maybe above Mandalore
And above and below Amory Wars.
Below Amory Wars.
Stop what you're doing.
And then part 2 is above League of Legends. Yeah.
That wasn't you grabbed.
This is nothing. I had one extra image here, so don't worry about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so next is Overwatch.
I don't remember a single thing about the lore of Overwatch except there are good guys and there are bad guys.
It's not very good.
I think it's a D. I think it's.
I remember more lore. I remember more lore out of the events that Andrew was talking about, but that was a fun event, but that comes back every year because at one point I'm like, oh, that's a specific team. That's cool.
And I know it does a little bit better job than this, but it has League of Legends vibes to me where it's we've got these characters, they fit these tropes, let's make a story so that it makes sense that they're all here together, and it is more well done than League of Legends. And I do remember, I think, saying that sentiment a lot during that episode, but it still just smacks of just the like, here are our toys, here's our toy box, kiss. Like, it's just like
here's what I remember out of the story, because you went over like histories of people. I remember that Soldier 76 and Reaper have a traumatic backstory together, and I remember that Widowmaker has a heartbreaking story that still makes me feel bad to this day. So I don't love this.
Yeah, I think if I'm ranking League of Legends because on using that criteria, I think Overwatch is even lower than like having that sense of cohesion. But Matt, we have been talking over you. Go ahead.
So like I will agree with a lot of the things that have been said. Overwatch's story is incredibly generic. It's like, and then there's a Captain America, and Captain America plays for S.H.I.E.L.D., and then Hydra infiltrates S.H.I.E.L.D., and then Captain America has to go off on his own and it's very generic. I don't have as many, we put the story in second vibes on Overwatch as I do on League of Legends, where like League of Legends is like, we have 100 people, let's try and draw a line between them. Overwatch, it's like, okay, here's the line that we're walking. Who's the next character on this line?
Let me make the distinction, if I may attempt this. League of Legends got dumped out the toy box and said, how are all these pieces going together? Overwatch started as they added characters, thought through adding each one. So like if they started with 4 and then added a 5th, they were like, okay, how are we adding number 5 to this? Great. How are we adding number 6 to this? So I would put it above League of Legends in that regard, where it's still very toy boxy, but it's they did it one at a time. They put them in, and we're like, that works. Let's do the next one. Where League of Legends is like, we got all these parts. How do we make a thing? Okay, great. And that's the distinction to me.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
Yeah.
So Overwatch goes in D tier, above League of Legends, and below One Piece Part 2. Okay, 2 more left. We've got Secret Wars. I really like this one. This one was stupid fun.
What was the other? Oh, Eternals is the other comic, the Marvel one. Secret Wars to me is an A.
I think it's an A too. Or a high B or a low A.
Yeah.
I feel fine about either of those.
Probably below Studio Ghibli, but like just.
Yeah.
I like it. So we're obviously trying to talk about like the lore. I think I like it even more knowing that it was based off of that stupid idea in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like that they were like, LOL, we're making money off toys. Everyone's here. You're all here now. And like watching that cartoon happen in real time. And then to know that,
and someone's going to yell at this point in the podcast, like, how is that different than Overwatch or League of Legends? And to that, I say, it is.
It's our show, not yours.
It's our show, it's not yours.
But my point was going to be that, like, they had an idea in, like, the 90s that was shoddily put together, and then they ran on to a bunch of different storylines later. With
the
all
90s version isn't much better than Overwatch or League of Legends.
No.
The 2015 version fixed that, and that's why I would say it's an A tier.
Because in the pushing up glasses in like the 90s version, it was like the game master Beyonder, whoever is doing it, is just pulling people there. In the 2015 version,
I mean, it's literally the joke I make in the episode where like an exec rips a line of coke and is like, "All right, how do we add the Hulk?" Great.
Well, and it was,
I don't care.
Yeah, it was their way of like, we're smashing universes together.
Yeah.
Just deal with it, you nerds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
So
this
we're
last
all in
one?
agreement that Secret Wars is an A.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Sick.
think that's good.
Last
is this
one.
Ys?
This is East, Todd, by process of elimination.
I think I also had that one pretty high.
Yeah, this was a good
Ys
one. I
Ys
very
is
much
a-
enjoyed this one.
Ys is a mid B to me.
I agree.
It's very very JRPG-y in a good way. It's let me put it this way. It's a B in the same way that Seinfeld is a B sitcom to me, in that other things have done it better since.
Yeah.
But it only because Ys did it well originally.
Yeah,
Can
I can
I-
agree with B.
I would say that I would put Ys after Sandman is my 2 cents there.
I'm also
I don't really have a good reason why. I
Yeah.
just feel that way.
I wouldn't fight for its positioning in B, but I think it should be like somewhere in B. Probably not at the end.
I feel like Ys should be above Sandman, but I'm okay with it being below NieR. If knowing that, like, again, I think I enjoyed the properties a lot more than the sum of its parts.
Sure. All right.
Mhm.
I'm
I'll give you
okay with that. Yeah.
Also, because that then
A
has
perfect
13
bell curve.
almost a perfect bell curve, in that there are 13 entries before Sandman and 14 entries after Sandman.
Amazing.
And that makes me feel a lot better.
Well, Andrew, bad news. 13 plus 14 plus 1 is 28, which means we're missing one, and the
you
one we're
forgot-
missing is FNAF.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
That's, I didn't. Okay, well, let's make this extra. Let's make this extra One Piece one represent FNAF, which is going in the D tier, Matt.
Yep, it is.
And-
I think it probably is going in the D tier.
And
And
it
it's
goes
going up.
just-
It's going below Code Geass.
It's going just above Kingdom Hearts.
I can't.
I know that it's our most listened to episode. I don't care. SEO doesn't give a shit.
I can't argue with you there. I mean, I would put, if I'm gonna give you my like real honest opinion, looking at all of this, I would put FNAF upper C tier, because like
No. No.
It is not better than Amory Wars, you monster.
I would put
Honestly,
FNAF above Amory
nope.
Wars.
Absolutely
nope.
not.
Okay, well,
I'm in
here's the
agreement.
thing.
I'm in
I would
agreement.
also put FNAF above Amory Wars, but I'd put Amory Wars in D tier. So
That's a bad.
it's
Look,
a trading
again,
to the right situation.
we're not rating your passion for it. It's an S, Matt passion. Like, when Matt's passionate about something, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm all the way the hell
Yeah.
in. But
Listen,
also,
having-
fuck
Yeah,
Nights
having-
at Freddy's or whatever.
Having
the hell.
recently watched a playthrough of the latest Five Nights game, the lore is a mess. It is a mess.
Yes,
and
it
your
is.
your passion only gets to carry it beyond Kingdom
I
Hearts.
would go so far as to say the only good thing about the FNAF lore is the insane lengths that the creator goes to make it all connect. It is
Yeah.
not good.
All right, fine. Put it above Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, it's trash. All right, cool. So, our final ranking, gentlemen, we'll give you. I'll read through it, and I'll give you one more time to rebuttal something. So I'll read slow. We've got in S tier. Actually, you'll start from the bottom. D tier. We've got One Piece Part 2.
No, you gotta.
No, you gotta
go
go up.
right to left.
Yeah, you got to go
Oh,
right
okay.
to left then.
Okay, got it. In D tier, starting from worst to best,
The worst thing we've ever put into our ears.
we've got Kingdom Hearts. Followed by, slightly above that, we've got Five Nights at Freddy's, Code Geass, League of Legends, Overwatch, One Piece Part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
C tier, starting from lowest to highest, we've got Mandalore. We've got One Piece Part 1. We've got Eternals. we've got coming in at 7, 8, 9, above 9 other entrants, Amory Wars.
Wait, Andrew, can I just get one really clean Amory Wars from you?
Armory Wars.
I need that because when I edit this, I'm going to put Amory Wars at the end. And I'm going to censor everything
So
else.
Perfect.
I gotta say, I think Eternals might go below One Piece and Mandalore.
No,
I think that's
absolutely
not
not.
I think
No.
Eternals can go below One Piece Part 1.
No.
Stop it. You're just trying to put more space between Amory Wars and Eternals.
No, they're both below in Amory Wars. It doesn't matter.
No.
Okay,
We all saw the Eternals movie, except Kyle.
I didn't.
3 of us saw the Eternals
This is
movie.
not the movie. This is the This is the comic.
This was
which
I know,
is
years
poo-poo
before the
garbage.
movie. Shut up! Everybody's yelling. What we're judging on is how invested in the property we got after, and all of us saw it.
Because we
And
had
Matt-
to. Because we have a podcast that's
and
about
Matt-
Marvel.
Matt, we were hyped about it for 2
No,
years. We were
the-
Not hyped about
Andrew
it. I
was
was
not.
not
Stop
hyped
it.
about it.
The lore is good.
It's not.
I have
It's
nothing else to say
stupid.
here. Why is it below Amory Wars? I'm so mad. Oh God.
All right, I will agree with you in that I won't put it lower than it is right now.
It can keep its place. I'm
yeah,
not
I
trying
think
to
it
move
stays.
it up.
I think it stays.
I think it stays.
All right, so
I'm gonna find the real book of Amory Wars that you
I have
bought
all 3
and
of them.
throw it in the street.
I have the first 3. Okay, so C tier. Starting from the bottom, we've got Mandalore, One Piece Part 1, The Eternals, Amory Wars, Les Miserables, Arcane, and Halo.
Yeah.
Hey, Todd, if you threw Andrew's Amory Wars books in the street and accidentally hit a car, be careful because you might start a Camry war. Okay, I'm done. That's all I got.
Okay,
yeah.
B tier. Starting from the bottom, we've got Social Justice and Comics, Marvel Part 2,
Magic
Sandman.
Part 2.
That's magic.
Magic Part
Shit,
2.
sorry. Magic Part 2, aka Marvel Part 1. Sandman, Ys, NieR, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Homestar Runner, Guy Fieri.
I thought that the East cover art was just alternate Arcane cover art for a pretty long time. Because it also kind of looks like
it's
2 sisters. One is shorter than the other with
yeah,
long
it's a little
hair.
it's the cover for Ys 8, and because there isn't like one image to use other than just like the main character at all. So that's on me.
Avatar being lower than Homestar Runner feels weird to me, but it's not a hill I'm willing to die on necessarily.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think you're wrong.
I think again, looking at the episode, we all like were giddy. Like our
Yeah.
collective giddiness is enough to
Yeah.
put Homestar Runner up. Again, like the lore, there is no lore obviously,
it's
but
2
like
dudes in Georgia and then a third dude at some point.
that
Yeah.
one was fun enough that like I went and watched a bunch of Homestar Runner cartoons after we did that.
Same.
Okay.
More for the nostalgia, but I don't know. That's where it goes for me. Okay, so
I
that's
like that we
B2,
all agree Guy Fieri is the top is the B plus of
Yeah.
the B plusiest.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like the patron saint of B plus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like again, like whenever Guys Grocery Games is on, I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna pay attention, but it's gonna be on.
That's fair. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, A tier. Starting from the bottom, we've got Marvel Secret Wars, Studio Ghibli, Magic the Gathering Part 1, Animorphs, and Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
What
I
do you wanna
cannot
say, Todd?
believe that of the 3 flavor text I've soloed, 2 of them are in D tier and 1 of them is the top of A tier.
Well, I've got both the top and the bottom, Matt. So.
Yeah. I was gonna laugh. I'm looking at the January 2022 Smash Brothers Ultimate tier list, and just so you know, Kingdom Hearts is the little Mac of flavor text.
Good. Okay, and then S tier, we've got, starting from the bottom, we've got Neon Genesis Evangelion. Fucking Bomberman.
Bomberman, baby!
Yeah, that's
And-
the sleeper
and-
S hit for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's the peach of this group. And then or the Jigglypuff. And then of course The Witcher, to no one's surprise, the greatest property ever created.
And again, in Smash Brothers terms, that is Evangelion is Joker, Bomberman is Rob, and Henry Cavill is Pikachu.
Rob is
I was gonna say
S tier
Fox.
these days.
Yeah, baby.
I don't know anything.
I've seen Matt do some nasty things with Rob. Take
So
that
there we
as
are.
context.
There we are. That is the final ranking. I'm saving this. Debate this. Flavor text. This is all really good content. Tier
leave it in.
list. Save. Okay.
Alrighty.
Well,
We're gonna
that's it.
have to
We'll,
edit a FNAF image into there.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. Oh, I don't know how to use this site. We'll figure this out later. I'm gonna stop recording. Hey, if you're watching this VOD, thank you. Also, you might not be watching this. I don't know. We'll figure this out. This will probably be edited out later. I don't know how to close the video. Okay, bye.
All right,
right.
guys. Well, I think with the tier list officially made, that is a good place to wrap up. Unless anybody has some closing thoughts.
No.
Great. I'll take
No,
your
that's
silence
it.
as agreement.
I was gonna say, I mean, it's probably good just to say, like, thank you, the listeners,
Yes.
for giving
Yeah.
us the opportunity to build this spectrum of Henry Cavill to Kingdom Hearts. We now have an actual barometer for what we value as like good lore and bad lore. And it's just something that we can't do without you. And so we look forward to your future, offerings to try and place them in there.
We'll do another tier list at 60. Commission 29 more flavor texts.
Yeah.
We'll do another tier list. All right. Well, I will go ahead and say thanks for listening to Debate This. You can follow along with the arguments on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Debate This Cast, or on our website at debatethiscast.com. If you, yes, you, the listener, would like to commission your very own flavor text, you can head over to patreon.com/debatethiscast. You'll also find ways to join our Discord community, gain access to bonus content, and join us for Patreon-exclusive movie nights. If Patreon isn't your speed, we'd really appreciate it if you went back, found your favorite flavor text, and sent it to one of your friends. After all, research shows that peer-to-peer interaction is the first step to indoctrinating someone into a cult. Until next time, I'm Matt Cole.
I'm Andrew. No items. Bomberman only. Final destination. Henderson.
I'm Kyle. Amory Wars should be B tier. Harper.
Oh. And I'm Todd. Vaxis 2, too fast, too Vaxis Thomas.
And we're saying thanks for debating with us. And if you think we're wrong, you can come fight us behind the swing sets, nerds.